Hey folks, Jerry here. Hope all is well today. I'm in my truck right here getting loaded right at the time. And folks, I just want to thank my Lord Jesus Christ for everything He's done for me today. Somebody asked me the other day, he said, Jerry, if you really believe that you might be the remnant of Mary Magdalene, does this mean that you might end up coming up and telling us you're the next Messiah? No, folks, I ain't going to do something like that. Listen, and it's like this. That spot has been reserved for my master and my master alone, folks. Don't let anybody in this entire world come along and tell you anything at all about them being some Messiah. Because it's reserved for Jesus Christ, Him and Him alone, folks. Doesn't matter if there's a blood lineage of people here that comes from Him and Mary Magdalene both. Or it doesn't matter if it is or if it isn't. It's reserved especially for Him. I'm in my truck here. But anyway, I've got a lot done here lately, and I want to thank the Lord for that. I actually got a CB installed here today, as you can see. It's $200. To install that CB, I did that myself. I've got about everything I need here, folks. It's very comfortable, and I thank God for what He's done. My Lord Jesus Christ, I thank Him so much for what He's done for me and everything that He has. This is such a gracious day of celebration for me that I have, my life has stabilized out, and I haven't got such uncertainties in my life like I have for the last 2 years that threw my life into chaos without me doing anything. So, thank Jesus Christ, my Father, for that. But anyway, what I want to do is today, folks, I want to talk to you all about who and what is the synagogue of Satan. And you may end up hearing me talk about some, I'm going to talk inverted stuff a little bit, because you know how these algorithms go here. And so, Bo Jiden right there, our president, might be Bo Jiden, okay? And some other things might be some other things. Now, they lie. Revelation 2:9. I know thy works, thy patience, thy faith, and thy poverty, but ye are rich. And I know, though, blasphemy of those who say they are jaywalkers and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan that do lie. So what are they, and who are they? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Well, let's start by going back all the way to Exodus, okay? And so let's take a look. When the children of Israel in Exodus first came out of Egypt, it'll tell you in chapter 12, verse 37, and the children of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Sukkoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men besides children. Now here's what I really want you to pay attention to is verse 38. Now listen to what it has to say. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. But this is the whole key right here, folks. This mixed multitude. So all of them wasn't jaywalkers, you see. So already we see Satan planting his seed to try to throw a stumbling block before them already. And them leaving Egypt. You know he wasn't going to give up with Pharaoh so easily there, so there we go with that. So now, let's continue, and we will go through history here some with this, okay? Now, of course, the 40 years that the children of Israel were in the wilderness, folks, was not a productive time in serving the Lord, and that's obvious. And so, even Moses, his brother, persuaded many of those to turn to the golden calf and worship the golden calf even while he was gone. And they really didn't do what they were supposed to do, and that's because of certain ones going with them and guiding them in the wrong direction and them biting into it. And so, even in Amos 5, 21 through 26, he says, I hate and despise your feast days and will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Though ye offer burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beast. Take thou away from me the noise of the songs, for I will not hear the melodies of the vowels. But let judgment run down as water, and righteousness as a mighty stream. Have ye offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel? But ye borne the tabernacle of Moloch, and Chion your images, the star of your God which ye made to yourselves. Therefore I cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, saith the Lord, who is the name of the God of hosts, into Babylon. And that star of Ramphan, folks, has continued to carry with them today, even to this very time, the star of their God that they made unto themselves. Okay? It's very blasphemous. And many see that star today, folks, and they think that it means something good, and it means nothing good whatsoever. Now, it makes even further reference to this, like in Acts chapter 7, verse 43, even in the New Testament. It's even gone back, and they talk about this even more. And now this same thing was also made reference to, also in Hosea, folks, not just in Amos and Hosea, but also in Acts, but it was made reference to in Hosea. Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Ramphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. And so, the children were led astray, folks, but it was obvious that something was doing that besides just their own spirit or their own heart. There was those amongst them that had actually left Egypt that had been planted among them with Satan that was causing these things to take place. Okay? And that's what you have to understand. It really is. You had a group or a tribe of them that was amongst them that were not jaywalkers. And that happened the entire time. All the way to the time they went into Israel and was there in Israel amongst one another. So, now it begins offering some clues about some of this, folks, about who went into apostasy and who never came out of it when you start comparing to what was going on in the Old Testament versus the list that Jesus Christ gave you in the New Testament. Now, let's take a look at the 12 tribes of Israel here in Exodus, okay? So now you have Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. The 12 tribes of Israel listed in the book of Exodus. So if you take that list and compare it, you end up comparing it to the 12 tribes that are listed, folks, when Jesus Christ came to John on the island of Patmos in Revelations. And if you will notice, you will have a list of those who are sealed in the 144,000. And that list is different than the list that you see in Exodus. As what has happened here is the tribe of Dan has been removed from that. And the tribe of Manasseh, which is a half-tribe, a younger tribe that sprouted out later on, had been taken to replace the placement of it. Now, why is that, folks? Why was the tribe of Dan taken from this list? And does it mention the tribe of Dan in Revelations? Well, of course it does. And here we have, folks, what is evident and apparent. Revelation 2:9. I know thy works, tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of those which say they are the jaywalkers, and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. Okay, then if you go and you turn over here to 3:9 when he's addressing further the churches to John, you will notice also that it also says has another verse making reference to it. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are jaywalkers and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come to worship before thy feet, and know that I have loved thee. So, folks, what it is, this is the Pharisees, is what it is. This tribe of Dan, it's the Pharisees. This is who they are. Pharisee is a direct derivative word of Pharaoh. And these people came from Egypt from the get-go with Moses. They came out of Egypt and followed the children of Israel, sent them into apostasy into the mountains for 40 years, into the wilderness. They practiced idolatry throughout the centuries, and then finally they put Jesus Christ to death, folks. And this remnant of the tribe of Dan, of these Pharisees, they are still among us today, folks. And they still say they are jaywalkers, but do lie. You want me to mention some of them here for you? Well, right here's some of them. These Knights Templars. This is Bill Gates. He's one. George Soros. The Rothschilds. Merrill Lynch. And the list goes on and on, folks. Mark Zuckerberg. Not Julian Assange, but it just goes on and on. Now, some of you may say, well, is Bill Gates one of those, Jerry? Of course, he's got one of those foundations of the jaywalkers, folks. You can't hardly find it until you say that you want to end up giving to them or whatever. Then you can find them if you want to give money to them. That's the way you can find them for sure. If you want to really find out the truth on who it is and who it is not. But one scary thing, guys, that may come to mind with you all, especially when we're talking about in these last days with the tribe of Dan, because I told you they run everything. They were the ones who financed the little twitchy man there in Germany back in the 1930s. He was no financial miracle. The Ashkenazis, they financed the Nazis. And it might be a bit scary to some of you guys to actually know that these are the exact same people that runs our financial banking institutions of today. Now, if that doesn't send hairs sticking straight up on your arms, I don't know what would. Because, folks, you're in more danger from these people than you realize. You really need Jesus Christ in your life these days, folks. Because these people, they are planning some hideous things for the Great Tribulation period. I've already brought some of it out when it comes to the Ozark Trail, the Ark of the Oz with the Christians on the rail. Yeah. Or if you take rail and go backwards with it, it spells liar to the Christians because the T represents Christians. Go back and look at my videos. I'm telling you, folks, this whole thing about this, the concentration camps and stuff, it's all true. What they done was, instead of coming in here and building them in Europe like they just built them there, They came in here and made them into identical looking department stores. Now they're going back through, shutting them down and turning them into it. The same thing by the same people is happening here in the United States that happened back in Germany, folks. They're even calling them concentration camps. Okay? And who's behind this ultimately? Why, it's your queen and, the lizards. They're in England. They never got their houses bombed or anything like that during World War II. The Luftwaffe, they bombed England to the ground, and they never touched the palace any whatsoever of the Saxe, Coburg, Golgotha, Germanic bloodline of Pharaoh. Telling you the truth, guys. Same place that the little twitchy man come from. He was the aristocracy too. As weird as he was, guys, that's the only place he can be. Somebody like that would have to be kin to somebody that models the Addams Family on TV. I mean, really. It's the aristocracy, people. Every bit of it is. And these are the people who are planning this whole thing out and planning your demise in these days. You know, the thing about it is, too, there, folks, the remnant of this, the leaven of this Pharisees, Jesus even put forth a warning in the Gospels that all of this stuff is going to come out of the darkness and it's going to be made known and come to light. And it shall be proclaimed upon the housetops, folks. It's all going to come out, guys, and that's what you got to remember. We were talking about that just the other day. Beware the leaven of the Pharisee, for all of the darkness is going to come out into the light and be made known. And it's going to. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Thank you for watching my video, guys. I'm going to be doing the thing on Daniel, okay? We will be doing that. And, let me move for this guy right here. He's wanting me to move here for a minute. We are going to be doing that whole thing about Daniel. And I'm going to be breaking that down piece by piece for you guys, okay? So, stay tuned. I know that I've kind of been busy a little bit here lately and everything else, guys, but I got to try to make a living somehow. And so, we'll be talking to you.